What's going on, everybody? Another Wednesday evening of Canes Talk. I've got my guest who is actually in the waiting room right now. I'm going to bring him on in a few seconds. Let me just let the chat fill up a little bit. 9:04, punctual as always. What's going on, man? Let's see. Oh, here we go. Demetrius, what's up? Randy, always punctual. What's going on? McLovin the Canes, what's going on? All right, I see my guest of honor is ready. Let me bring him in right now. Yo, what's going on, Max?
Nothing. Just got off of work, strolled my chair over from behind me, right over here, and I'm good to go.
That sounds like a grueling commute, man. The 4 seconds from computer to computer.
It's pretty tough.
Yeah. So I got the same life, man. I work from home as well. So I got to take a little nap before this, so it was nice.
Yep.
Let's see. Thank you, sir. New sub. Yes, please, if you have not yet, hit the subscribe button. So yeah, Max, got a few things to talk about. I wanted to talk because it's just 2 weeks away, which is insane. Talk a little bit about Bama and kind of start previewing that. You know, if we're going to pull off that huge upset, I'd love to discuss how we're going to do it, X's and O's wise. And, you know, the scrimmage, and I know there's another scrimmage coming up. But one thing I was hearing a lot of coming out of the first scrimmage is that the offense was ahead of the defense. Some people were like, yeah, of course. Other people were like, well, the defense is usually ahead of the offense. So is that a reason for concern? I have my answer, but what did you think when you heard that the offense was kind of making all the plays?
I'm not concerned about it at all, because if you look at it, how many guys we kept from our offense last year, like realistically, who did we lose? Brevin Jordan? Like is that it? You know what I mean? So we didn't really lose anybody from our offense. So I feel like that's expected. You know, if Derek King is as healthy as he looks, then it's expected, because he seems like he's even better now than he was last year because of how strong his legs are off of that rehab assignment. So it doesn't surprise me at all, because we didn't lose anybody. In fact, we actually kind of gained. We got Navon Donaldson back. So I feel like we're definitely in a better spot now than we were last year.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel, because really just in general, it's the second year of King. It's the second year of Lashley. Full offseason to install everything. And, you know, young receivers, like the list goes on. And we're expecting a very explosive season from the offense this year. So that's what I thought. Like, yeah, of course. Of course the offense was ahead of the defense. And not to say that the defense didn't make their share of plays. What I heard was Keontre Smith balled out, which, you know, is promising, because the linebacker room is kind of the weakest and most unproven spot right now. I know you were talking with Steve-O yesterday about like Sam Brooks coming back and all this stuff. So how are you feeling now about the linebacker room now? And is it better than you were feeling in the spring?
It's better than I was feeling in the spring, but it's not to a place where I'm like completely comfortable. The biggest takeaway is, one, obviously Sam Brooks' health. He's probably around 80% right now. But in terms of other guys stepping up, Tyreek Austin-Cave was phenomenal in the scrimmage from everything that I've heard, which is huge, because he has the size and he has the speed to play linebacker at the University of Miami. So hearing a name like that kind of emerge out of nowhere is very exciting to me, because he's bigger than, you know, some of the other guys in that room. He's faster than most of the guys in that room. And he's already got the weight that's kind of needed to play that position. You know, he's like 6'1", 225, which is just fine for a modern day linebacker. You know, I was doing some math and looking at some of the more modern day linebackers in the NFL, like the Devin Bushes and, so, you know, guys in that mold, Devin White, and they're all around like 230 to 235, you know, and he's just under that. and this is his second year in the program. So that was really, really refreshing for me. And then obviously Sam Brooks being back, I'm definitely in a better spot now than I was before. Because the stuff with Keontre has been, I've known about that for a long time. Nothing's really changed there. He's showing out. So
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that outside linebacker position, I feel much better about it. And then of course you got the X factor of Chase Smith, who I think is going to be a monster.
mm-hmm.
Um, I think he's eventually going to make his way to the weak side. He's listed as a striker right now. As long as he's on the field, I don't really care. What about Corey Flagg? It's been a little quiet with him because we're expecting him to, at the end of last year, we were expecting him to just step in and have a big year. What are you hearing about him?
He's kind of in the similar mold as some of the other guys that we've had. Just favorites of everybody, like the Denzel Perrimans, the Shaq Quartermans, where the staff just absolutely loves the personality, the work ethic, what they do on the field. He fits that mold, but again, he's not somebody that has proven it enough on the field for me to be 100% confident in his ability. So that's kind of just a wait and see thing with me. I mean, it's the same, like when you think about it, Keontre Smith, people can make that argument. It's a wait and see with him, but he was being productive at striker, and it's essentially the same thing over at weak side. So I'm confident in his ability at linebacker because he's proven that he can do it. With Corey Flagg, he didn't play a ton last year. When he was out there, he played well, but I need to see it on a more consistent basis.
Sure, of course. And let's see, trying to think of who else made some plays on the defense. Oh, Leonard Taylor. We were hearing had a couple of sacks, a couple of nice little highlight clips of him. I heard he was really impressive in the scrimmage as well.
Yeah, no, I heard he had 2 sacks and he was in the backfield a lot. He did get some reps, which is awesome, against Navon Donaldson. I was talking to who earlier today, and he was posting some pictures of them battling together. And that's just really good to see because, as everybody says, iron sharpens iron. And when you have our best, the biggest future piece in that D-tack room going up against the best piece of the offensive line, it's going to make him improve exponentially faster than it would if he was going against, the Coastal Carolina State Universities of Oklahoma, like the smaller schools that he's probably going to start to get some playing time against. So him being able to get a bunch of reps against Navon is going to be huge for his development.
Oh, sure. And that's what made the pass greats great is, you had Vernon Carey was going up against Vince Wilfork,
Yep.
2 bulls going at it, and they were both first rounders. Look at that. So, speaking of the defense, I did hear about there was a injury to Keyshawn Washington, if I'm not mistaken.
So this caught me by surprise, right? I heard there was a bad injury with Keyshawn Washington. They had to help him off the field. It took him about 60 yards to be able to put pressure on his leg. And I was like, okay, he's probably done for the year. And then 2 days later, he's back at practice. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. I mean, I'm no doctor.
He's fine.
Yeah. I mean, great. But, I mean, I'm no doctor, but I'm trying to think of the times I heard something, out there on the field. It's probably just took a helmet to the thigh or something, like a Charlie horse kind of situation, just couldn't put weight on his leg. It was probably that if he was back on the field.
No, for sure.
And then, Cave got a boot on.
Yeah, there's a couple guys that are wearing boots. I think it's more precautionary. They might have got a little banged up, but nothing too serious. I mean, you had Jake Garcia with the boot on all of spring, and he was still practicing, So I think it's just more of a precautionary thing at this point.
Yeah, and you got to take into account it is football. No one is 100%.
Ever.
The amount of bumps and bruises and tweaked ankles and broken thumbs, and that's so common. I mean, to find a guy who's 100% healthy, that guy's probably not playing. So, all right, so Keyshawn's all right. And then let's go over to the offense a little bit because they balled out, of course. King looked great from everything I'm hearing. He had 4 incompletions, and 2 of them were drops by Rambo.
Potentially. Yeah,
Potentially,
potentially.
yeah. So he looked great. The offense is, humming along, so that's awesome. Um, but yeah, speaking of the wide receivers, Rambo did have the drops. I'm hearing it wasn't really a problem until the scrimmage, so it could be jitters, it could be something mental, what have you. Um, what do you think? Do you think that's going to be a recurring problem with him? Because that was a problem with him in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I mean, it was a problem with him at Oklahoma. He dropped 2 passes in the scrimmage, so I'm not going to say it's going to be a recurring problem because I don't know what the outcome is going to be. But it
Sure.
is something to kind of monitor, and if it does continue to happen, and he's costing us some important plays and whatnot, then we got a lot of young guys that are pushing these veterans for playing time. So I'm not too concerned about it. People are saying, oh, we don't want to be this whole seniority thing, blah 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 blah. And then you see Romello Brinson playing with the ones in practice, and you see Keyshawn Smith starting every single day in practice, and you see guys like that are Chase Smith playing on like 4 or 5 different positions so far. So I definitely think those days are gone. Most of spring and most of training camp, you've had Wayman Steed and Bradley Jennings as the starting linebackers. And I think those days are gone as well. I think the 2 starters are going to be Corey Flagg and Keontre Smith. There's another position battle that was a senior versus a young guy, and that was Pope and Restrepo for the backup slot. And everything that I've heard, Restrepo has already won that battle or is winning the battle currently. So that seniority talk is getting filtered out of the program. Fortunately, I know it's something that all the Canes fans and every time we talk about depth chart and what have you, it's always brought up in the chat on my shows and other shows. So from everything I'm hearing, it looks like that problem is no longer a thing.
That's everything I'm hearing too, and that's what it seems like. It looks
Yeah.
like early on in camp they were trying a bunch of different packages and stuff and a bunch of different combination of guys at the one, but now who the starters are going to be is starting to become more and more clear as we get closer to the season. I did notice a couple things though. One, I believe it was today or yesterday at practice, McLeod was running with the ones at defensive end. I know that's like the one last remaining guy that people kind of don't want to see because it's the whole seniority thing. But let's keep in mind he is switching positions. It's not he is more of a natural pass rusher. It's not him at linebacker again. Um, but I've heard a few good things here and there about McLeod during camp and during the spring, but not like he's balling out or anything. What have you heard, if anything, about McLeod that's made him earn that spot, or is it just kind of by default? There's really no one else stepping up aside from maybe like Harvey or Johnson.
Yeah, so to touch on that, that practice, Chance Williams and DeAndre Johnson were both not involved in the normal practice. They were doing strength training drills with ropes and stuff like that on the side on a different part of the field. So there was really only 2 defensive ends practicing. It was Zach McLeod and Jafari Harvey, and then the backups were 2 walk-ons. So that is, I guess, one answer. The second answer is he's been good all of camp. He was good in the spring. He's adjusting to that position. He's already up to like 260 pounds. So his frame allowed him to put on that weight. Physically, he's looking good. Everything that I've heard, he's been performing well. So it wouldn't surprise me if he started. But I think that Jafari Harvey and DeAndre Johnson might have that nod. But from everything that I've heard, it's going to be, Manny likes to run 4 defensive ends like 50-50. Like they're going to be splitting snaps. It doesn't matter who starts. It matters, where the snap's going to. And if it is 50-50, then, that it's 50-50, right? So, I would be comfortable if the 4 guys that played were McLeod, Chance Williams, Jafari, and DeAndre Johnson, and they split 50% of the snaps. I would be more than okay with that.
I'd be okay with that too. And really, for longevity, you kind of need that because
Hmm.
they're not deep at that position.
Right.
Your next guy is basically Jabari Ishmael, and we don't know if he's going to be physically ready just because he's so young. And I think he's banged up already.
Yeah, he was in a neck brace for a little bit, but I did see a video of him today. He wasn't in a brace, so hopefully that issue is no longer there.
Okay, that's good. But yeah, you got to split the snaps between those four guys just so they're still fresh at the end of the season because you know we saw it at the end of 2017 that attrition and all those injuries killed us.
Well, and what people don't understand is like Manny's defense is so much more physically taxing because he sends so much more pressure. So these guys are going to get worn out faster than when Blake Baker was calling the shots, right? So it's very important to have a deep four, even 5 and 6 at times, because of how taxing his calling style is. So again, I'm confident with the four. If we're in a pinch, Quentin Williams. You have Elijah Roberts as well that can play on the edge. Both played it in high school, so I'm not too worried about that position right now. I just hope that the guys that do play are productive.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Now, that's a good segue into the topic I want to really focus on today, which is Bama. And 904 has one of my concerns right here in his comment that Alabama, um, they're gonna come up with a big personnel set, 22 personnel, which is for those that don't know the lingo, 22 means two tight ends, two running backs. They're just gonna go jumbo set up front and run it down our throats. We do not have the size to match up with them man for man like that. However, the old Canes defenses, dating all the way back to the 80s, size was never our thing, anyways. Our thing was just out quick the other guys, knife our way to the backfield, and make plays. So if we're going to have any chance in this game, they can't just keep our defense on the field and run the clock and run it down our throats. So, do you think that Manny can throw out some exotic packages, and with our speed, we can mitigate that?
Yeah, I can't really talk about some of the specifics that I've heard, but he's got a lot of exotic packages that he's been scheming with Shoop, that I think we can throw at Alabama. Some crazy things I'm hearing. Like we could talk off air, but like crazy things.
that's that's good.
And we finally have the personnel to be able to do that because we have athletic defensive ends, we've got freak linebackers athletically, and you got all these safeties that you can play, right? So just imagine, I mean, I can throw this one out there. Imagine 5 safeties on the field.
Mhm.
I mean, who's going to run on that?
Yeah, a lot of people think that giant O line is just going to run them over. Well, they're not as nearly as quick as the five safeties. So
Yeah.
you can't block what you can't catch. So yeah, that's where I think we may even have an advantage because Alabama, how are they going to even prepare against that? Really? I mean, I'm sure they'll. I mean, it's Nick Saban; he's going to find a way, but that's gonna be tough to replicate. I think for them in practice.
Yeah,
Uh,
and the thing is, like with the emergence of Corey Couch looking like he might be locking down one of those spots, you throw him on one side of the field, and I feel pretty confident in him guarding that side of the field.
mhm.
So you can stack the box and play to the other side. So I think there's a lot of things that Manny can scheme up, Shoop can scheme up that could be successful about against Alabama.
Yeah. Bosworth saying Miami will stack the box and leave the corners on the island, like Butch said. He came in '95, baptism by fire. Speaking of the corners, another thing I saw on the who was running with the ones in practice, I noticed one name was not on there, Tyreek Stevenson. Now, is from what you know, is this more of to Corey Couch was just doing that well that they rewarded him, or is it more of well, maybe Stevenson's getting beat a little bit on the deep ball, a little bit of both? What do you hear?
Um, I mean, if you look at the notes from each day of practice, it seems like most of the time it is to Corey Couch and Ivy playing with the ones, and Tyreek's cycling in with the ones as well. Um, but I think schematically, if you're playing heavy press man, DJ Ivy and Corey Couch are probably those guys. Not that Tyreek can't do it. But in terms of like what he's going to be at that next level, he's probably going to be a slot and a safety. He's going to be a slot and a free safety in the NFL. That's just from what I've heard. Has nothing to do with what I've heard out of the Miami side. But as far as some NFL agents, they project him as a free safety nickel. So I would not be surprised if he was the starting nickel and Takori started on the outside. But it also wouldn't surprise me if those things were swapped either. So
Yeah.
whatever ends up happening, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, it's whoever, cream rises to the top. The good thing is you got a lot of competition at those positions now, and you got T-Rob and DVD and guys like that coaching them. So I'm not too concerned. I was just a little surprised to see that. But if you look at his Georgia highlights, a lot of them were covering guys from the slot, jamming those receivers at the line and things like that. So, yeah, if that's how he can contribute, then, however he can make plays, I'll take it.
Right.
Let's see what else. JV fast linebackers. Hey, what's going on, Flo? He's probably in the car right now.
Probably.
Let's see. Let's see what else. So you got the corners, and yeah. So I think defensively, I'm really curious to see like what you're saying, because I kind of knew that they're going to have to come with really exotic packages against Bama to kind of throw them off. And what did we hear out of their camp? That Bryce Young, while he is a fantastic prospect, like he almost has a perfect 1.0 rating on 247. That's very rare. But he is a young quarterback, and he did. I think he threw an interception in their scrimmage. So I think we definitely have a chance to cause a couple of turnovers, but we have to, in my opinion, we have to cause at least 2 to have a chance.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be at least +1 in the turnover battle, at least, probably +2.
Yeah, because they might force us into one. I think we have to keep it at 0 or 1 giveaways on offense. Let's see.
Flo's funny.
Yeah.
I'm not. Hey, you can't see. It's all good, Flo.
But yeah, it looks like that's the plan I would go with on defense. But
yeah.
Now on offense, I think they need to go very similar to what Florida did, very similar to what Ole Miss did. Spread them out, force their corners to make one-on-one tackles in the open field. Because obviously we're not going to run, unlike the defense, we're not going to run straight out. I think that would be stupid. They need to do, in my opinion, what they should have done more of last year is get that short passing game going, get King in a rhythm early, and then open it up from there. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's important. I would like to, see a little bit of play calling changes. It felt like we kind of ran the same couple of plays at the beginning of every single drive last year. A run and then a screen and then a run. It was pretty vanilla. And again, Lashley was teaching his scheme over Zoom, and they didn't have the spring, so I don't expect that anymore. But I do think starting off with the short passing, get him in a little bit of a groove, throw some screens. We saw it in the spring game with Rambo. Give him some screens, let him work a little bit, get his confidence going as well. And then you got Keyshawn Smith and Rambo to just take the top off of defenses. So I definitely think we can scheme something up like that.
Mm-hmm. Let's not forget Mallory. Let's not forget Arroyo.
Of course.
Yeah, and this offense has weapons. It's
endless
weapons. Maybe we don't have a generational talent like Kyle Pitts that, maybe we do. Maybe Keyshawn Smith is that guy. Who knows? But I think De'Aaron King probably just as good, will statistically be just as good a quarterback as Kyle Trask was last year, or can be at least. And he's got more weapons at his disposal. Veteran coaching staff. We got a lot going for us there. Let's see. Tanga says our running game plan for a running back game plan for Bama. Do we go with a three-headed monster, or do we pick someone like Cam to go with him for majority of plays? I'll let you field this one first, Max.
You know what I want to see against Bama?
What do you want to say?
I want to see Jalen Knighton and Brashard Smith in the backfield together, throwing them in motion, putting them in the slot, and making linebackers cover them. Because it's not going to end well.
Mm-hmm.
It is not going to end well. That's what I want to see. But in terms of, are we just going to pick one running back? Absolutely not. Bama's a team that's big. They're going to wear guys down. We're going to wear their guys down. It's going to be a battle, man. And you can't just play one running back. Those days are few and far between, it seems like. You're seeing, look at the Cleveland Browns, right? They got Kareem Hunt and they got the dude from Georgia, Nick Chubb. And those guys split carries, and they're both just as dominant, right? I think that's what we're going to see, and we could be seeing it with 3 running backs, not just 2.
Yeah, no, very rarely do you see a running back that just carries an offense nowadays. I mean, the most recent example I can think of was like a Derrick Henry or like a Le'Veon Bell in his prime, but those are rare.
I mean, just look at Todd Gurley and how short his career ended up because of him carrying the load the first however many years of his career. I mean, the guy's he's not even signed with the team. He barely played last year. Wasn't very productive, and that's because when he was at the Rams, they just fed him into the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
They literally fed him into the ground, man, and that's why you see these running backs like Frank Gore. That does not happen often because before you would just run these guys in the ground and their bodies couldn't take it. But
Mm-hmm.
Gore has always not been like a 30 carry a night guy.
Mm-hmm.
And look how long he's been able to play in the league.
Yeah, no, makes a huge difference. But yeah, I'm with you. We're going to see, I don't know if we're going to see all 5 guys out there at any point, but we're definitely going to see Knighton. We're definitely going to see Chaney if he's healthy. Maybe on a goal line set, you see Franklin with his 240-pound frame. But yeah, I'm with you. I would love to see. I don't care that he's a freshman. Brashard Smith coming out of the backfield. Knighton, I mean, when healthy, which it seems like he is. I mean, Sigmund's saying that something happened to Knighton. I don't know. Was there like an injury or something, or was he in a boot as well or something?
Well, he's saying did something. I don't know. I do not know.
Well, hopefully not. I think I would have. Well, the rest of the chat will say somebody will say something, but assuming Knighton is healthy, which it seems like up to this point he has been, like you saw in the Louisville game, that was a perfect example how much he can hurt your defense.
Yeah.
You just give him a little bit of breathing room. I mean, he is gone. And it reminds me, you remember the Orange Bowl against Wisconsin back in 2017?
Mm-hmm.
We jumped out to either a 14. I was at the game. We jumped out to either a 14-0 lead or a 14-3 lead, something like that. A big reason was DJ Dallas, who then was a freshman.
Right.
And for whatever reason, we kind of went away from it. But yeah, freshman, sophomore, I don't care. Get the ball in the hands of the playmakers. Their big, slow linebackers will not be able to catch them, and it's going to cause problems.
Yeah, so I just looked up the stats of Derrick Henry and Frank Gore. The last 2 years, Henry's been 303 carries and then 378. And Frank Gore was only over 300 carries once in his career, and it was very, very, very early on. I think it was his second year in the league, and ever since that, he's been in the 200s and 100s. So, completely different.
Yeah, absolutely. And who knows how long Derrick Henry's going to last, but you know what? The guy's an absolute freak of nature and a monster, and he's lasted a lot longer than I thought he would.
Oh, his body is built different.
Yeah, no, he's a tank. He's a tank that can go 100 miles an hour. David Crawford, what's up? Okay, guys, what about Miami tight ends? No one's talking about who will show up. Yes, we did just mention the tight ends. Mallory and Arroyo. As for that, there was some competition for that number 2 spot, but I think Arroyo, from what I'm hearing, there was a competition
for maybe 30 seconds.
He came in and showed, all right, Size, check. Route running, check. Hands, he doesn't drop anything, check. Yeah,
Runs like a wide receiver, check.
Yeah. And Khalil Brantley, like, don't be surprised if he gets on the field. So they brought in two really talented dudes. People forget Frank Gore ended Glenn Coffey's career in San Francisco. I forgot about that dude. Former Bama running back. Let's see. How much do we ramp up the up tempo this year? Ooh.
I don't know if we can ramp it up much more. I feel like we were in up tempo like 95% of the time last year.
Yeah, but where it kind of shot us in the foot was we tried those running plays that got nothing on first down, and that would just kill the drive.
Yeah.
Because with Lashley's up tempo, it's kind of feast or famine. If you don't get 4 or 5 yards on that first play, the drive's pretty much over. If you do, we're off to the races.
Yeah.
So let's see. Oh, I wanted to touch on this. So punt returns, kick returns. What are you hearing? Who's going to get that job at least to start against Bama, and is that going to change as the season rolls on?
I think it could definitely change. If I had to pick someone right now, and this isn't like a ton of just information within program or whatever, I think it would be Restrepo, just because it seems like he's probably the 4th or 5th receiver right now on the depth chart. Backup slot. Seems like he's kind of taken Pope's job as the backup slot. And so I think it would make sense to run him there instead of a Charleston Rambo or a Mike Harley, because those guys are starting. I think X makes a ton of sense. I also would not be surprised if Rashard Smith was back there.
Mm-hmm.
But those would be the 2 guys I would want.
Yeah, and then you got Rooster as well. You got, Malik Curtis once he gets into the fold. You got a lot of options.
Yeah.
I can't imagine they can't find a guy like last year.
No.
904 Hurricane. Harley and Tyreek have been practicing kick return, and then you got those two. Harley is one of your top returning veteran guys, though. I find it hard to believe he'll stay there the rest of the season. I think that's more of we want the most sure-handed guy back there, kind of like when they had KJ Osborne back there, just to make sure he doesn't fumble it.
Yeah, I mean, he's still doing it with the Vikings, man.
He's sneaky fast, man. KJ Osborne, big body dude, but he's sneaky fast.
Yeah, I think he's listed as the 3rd wide receiver right now on their depth chart.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Or he's at least competing for that 3rd spot. Was Saban saying after the last scrimmage game that QB, young, supporting cast must play their roles well? Importantly, early, does that mean QB will be on a pitch count passing? That's a good question, but I think that goes back to the whole 22 personnel thing. I think they're going to do that for 2 reasons. 1, maybe because of our lack of size and they want to challenge us. And 2, because of that. I think they don't want to have to put the ball in Bryce Young's hands to carry them unnecessarily. That's my opinion on that. Let's see what else. Actually has to go 5 wide. He killed Oklahoma back against Houston Days was running. Yes, he did. Let's see. Oh, here's a subject. Depth on the O-line going down. Yeah, guys are a little bit banged up, but David, I'm not too concerned on the depth at O-line because that's why you have depth. If guys get nicked up, you still have enough numbers.
I don't think the depth is really going down. I think the only serious injury is John Campbell. Right. Everybody else is going to be fine this year. And I'm not even sure Campbell's done for the year, but Manny said serious knee injury, so I can only anticipate it was probably an ACL. Yeah. But I don't quote me on that. I can't confirm that information. But as far as everybody else, like Ja'Kai is going to be back quicker than people think. Zion Nelson's banged up, but he's still projected to be ready to play in that game. So, I mean, there's not really anybody else hurt at that spot.
Okay. That's probably what he was thinking. Like, Zion's out, Clark is out, but we are expecting those guys back soon.
Yeah.
To switch gears for a second on recruiting, 904 says, Mark Rogers, Florida State show today, all the FSU guys feel confident they are still getting Jaleel Skinner. Yeah, a lot of crystal balls in his favor. He did announce, for those who don't know, that October 9th the day after his birthday. The day after his birthday will be his announcement date. So, about a month and a half away. Anything new? Because they feel confident, but then, we've heard things that we also feel confident. So have you heard anything different? Any nugget that might sway it one way or the other at the moment?
They still think they're getting Marvin Jones Jr. and Wesley Basante, so that's all you need to know about their fan base.
Yeah, they think they're coming away with like the #1 class in the nation.
Oh, sorry. Let me rephrase that a little bit too. They also think that they're getting Jerron Willis, but you saw how that went last week, right? Where he said, "I have an announcement to make. I'm shutting my recruitment down." And the entire Florida State fan base lost their mind because even their insiders thought that he was going there. And then Wilt Fong posted in their thread, by the way, he's sticking to Georgia Tech. Like before, he's like, I think he's going to stick to Georgia Tech before it. And like, I can't tell you how many Florida State fans like downvoted his comment on 24/7. It was hilarious. They're like, you don't know what you're talking about. All of our insiders said that he's flipping to Florida State, and that did not happen. So yeah, I don't really listen to anything Florida State fans have to say because, like, up until yesterday, I didn't even think that they had internet up there. But somebody on my show in the chat said that I should check out a Florida State show one time. I didn't even know they had internet up there, so it's news to me.
Yeah, if by some miracle he goes to Florida State, again, all the crystal balls, and they've been oddly accurate this year, but they're all saying Florida State or LSU. It's like the only way I can see it though is if he just wants early playing time that bad.
What, he's gonna have early playing time at Miami?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Will Mallory's going to be gone, and it's going to be pretty much him and Arroyo tearing it up. So
yeah, he's gonna play day one. It's gonna be him and Arroyo. We're gonna be running a lot of 2 tight end sets, just like we are gonna do that this year. I mean, there's even some packages. I wouldn't be surprised if we were running 3 tight end sets. So yeah, no, Jaleel Skinner, he's not going to Florida State. I mean, it's a business decision, right? A business decision. And if he wants to make a business decision, he's not going there. Yeah, and 904 is saying it's the sport beat writers. They all thought that Jerron Willis was going there. They all think Marvin Jones Jr. is going there. I don't trust any of them. I mean, you guys have seen that I don't even know his name. Is it Brennan Sonon or something? One of their writers for 24/7. He's been posting all the practice clips on Twitter, and it's like, dude, why are you posting those? They look like
just incomplete passes and guys getting juked out of their shoes.
Yeah, it's like, bro, like you should be hyping up good plays, not putting this on the timeline. Like that, those are their insiders. I'm surprised Norvell hasn't taken their phones away and their video cameras. Like, why are they allowing them to publish that stuff? It's just free content for us.
It's hilarious what I've been seeing on Twitter, and I haven't been paying too much attention because I've been swamped lately. But the times I've looked, it's like incomplete pass out of bounds. I'm like, was there something else I was supposed to be looking at in that video? Like I missed it. Like what was the point of that? And just video after video of that. And then there was one from Michigan State.
Oh, I saw that yesterday. Yeah.
Oh my God. Receiver slips and falls down. Another one drops a ball. The next
one.
Why
are you posting that?
Like, what are you doing? Like,
and to mention, John, the savior of their program is probably never going to play another down of football. And I feel terrible for him. Mackenzie Milton, it's rough, but it seems like his career could be over. Yeah. He's had a lot of issues. Some of the reports have started to kind of surface. I don't know the extent of it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he just medically retired and was basically a GA for this season for them. So their big savior, their transfer portal, their De'Aaron King, right? Probably won't even play. So we all know what Jordan Travis looks like throwing the ball, right?
We do, yeah. And it's not. I mean, it's pretty for us. It's not pretty for them.
Yeah, exactly.
And really, they're kind of leaning on Chubba Purdy at this point to be that next guy, which I think is very talented, but I think he's got a long way to go before he gets there. And let's see what Chris Gons is saying. Canes Nation, how you guys doing? If we beat FSU again, Tallahassee, all the recruits are going to come to the U. Go Canes. Yeah, and that's the other thing. If what we're expecting to happen happens, and we smash them by 30, 40 points again, and they go 4-9 or whatever it is, I can't imagine they hang on to the majority of that class. They'll hang on to some. There'll be some kids that are loyal. I don't think. God, I keep forgetting his name. Travis Hunter, their number one guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a lifelong fan. And look, to be fair, we sucked when we got Duke Johnson, and he was going to be a Cane no matter what. I think he's their Duke Johnson.
Yeah, just like Don Chaney. He just was going to be a Cane regardless, or Restrepo.
Right. Yeah, he was Cane no matter what. I think that guy's at FSU. He's a Seminole no matter what. But aside from that, they're going to lose a bunch of guys. It's going to happen. My early prediction is one of them is going to be Daniel Lyons, and he flips to Miami. That's going to be one of the Miami flips. There might be more. Miami is tight end U. Good point. Yeah, you said business decision. If Skinner goes to FSU. Yeah, no, and to your point, I do feel bad about Mackenzie Milton also because I was a fan of his when he was at UCF. I really liked him a lot. So that's tough to see. Let's see. Milton been in the boot. FSU are seriously concerned. Oop, there goes their recruiting class. Yeah. No, and another thing, like my eyes aren't deceiving me, right? They look very small.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm probably bigger than like 70% of that team. And I'm not that I'm tall, but I'm not that big. But yeah, it's bad. Like it's very generous that Norvell's lending their facilities to a JV high school team.
Yeah. Clemson's going to break FSU's back way before we get to them. Ocala, what about Notre Dame? They get them week 1.
Game 1, they got Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's the same day we play Bama, right? That's September 4th.
I believe so.
Let's see. Well, you're looking it up.
I'll pull it up. It is the 5th, so the day after.
Okay, that's right, because that's that weird Labor Day weekend thing. There's games on Sunday and Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend, man. And we got Georgia, Clemson, I think that night right after our game.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Another funny thing about FSU, since we were talking about them, to hear them talk about their linebacker Emmett Rice sounds like Miami fans talking about McLeod returning for his senior year. I'm not even that familiar with Emmett Rice, to be honest with you. So there you go.
I don't know who that is. But we don't talk about Florida State. We laugh at Florida State. There's a difference.
Right. Yeah, that's enough Florida State talk on this channel. But yeah, man. So honestly, I don't know if you get the same feeling, but whenever we have a big game coming up, where like the Florida game 2 years ago, where we're underdogs, we're 2 touchdown underdogs or whatever. The closer we get to the game, I don't know what it is, the more confident I feel. The day of the game, I always feel like we have a chance to win. I don't know if you're the same way.
Oh, I'm a nervous wreck every single game. It doesn't matter if we're playing like the deaf and the blind. I'm still going to be nervous.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I'm just a nervous person, so.
Okay. Well, we didn't have this last year, but if I'm going to the game, I always feel like we're going to win.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's growing up, going to the Orange Bowl spoiled me. If we get up on Bama early, do you all think we go conservative and try to preserve the lead, or do we stay aggressive and keep the score? I hope we keep our foot on the gas because that is what hurt us against FSU in 2014. We got up early by like 16 points or whatever it was, and Al Golden, as he did a lot, took his foot off the gas. I would almost feel better. Like I would be okay with it if we kept our foot on the gas and maybe made a couple of mistakes because we were too aggressive. I prefer that over sitting back and letting them come back on us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely stay aggressive. Dabo mad about them running last year. It's more personal for Dabo just with us. Yeah, Dabo's going to kill them. Me too. Shows every play. Yeah, let's see what else. The Canes will win the game if King has a Johnny Manziel type of game. Bama has historically struggled against those scrambling quarterbacks, those playmakers. Yeah. No, man. like I said, I was saying, and realistically, will I bet my mortgage on we're going to beat Bama? No. But as we get closer to the game, I feel like, man, if we just do this and this, we can beat them. Let's see. Let's won't be on too long. Let's field a few more questions. If Bama blows us out, how many recruits will we lose? That's not going to happen. Let me take that negative crap off the screen.
Did something happen? I blacked out for a second.
What that? Oh yeah, I don't know.
No. What? Yeah, I don't see anything on the screen.
I don't see that. No,
Yeah,
no. We're gonna lock up the rest of this class, and we're gonna land some big names. I think we're landing Shamar Stewart. That's been my early predictions from the get go, and I'm sticking to it. But yeah, let's. We got a few minutes. Let's finish up with maybe some recruiting news if there's any. Jaleel Skinner's announcing October 9th. We know that. In the next 2 weeks, Max, are you expecting any more big commits, or is this pretty much it for now for a little while?
It really depends because there could be a prospect that wants to commit before his senior season starts, and that's starting like next week.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see a guy maybe pulling the trigger. Maybe a guy like Dante Anderson, maybe a guy like Isaiah Hastings. If Darius Thomas has the green light, maybe somebody like that. But other than that, probably not. The guys like Shamar and Kelly and Jones Jr. and Wesley and Devon Jackson and Anthony Lucas, like those guys seem like they want to wait.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't really expect too many commits right away.
And what about Jaheim Singletary? Because we were all on Singletary watch for like the last month.
I could see him and or Agbo committing soon-ish if they decide they want to commit soon. I think we're in the lead for both of them.
And we got Chris Gonzalez. John, guys, how about DJ Wesolak and Quintel Jones? I haven't heard anything about Wesolak in a while.
I don't think we're recruiting him anymore.
Yeah. He was great on the Canes Insight interview. I loved him when he was on like 3 months ago with the guys. But I haven't really heard much since then. And then Quintel Jones, I've heard a little bit. Is there any smoke there at all with Quintel?
There was a lot of smoke a couple weeks ago. Haven't really heard much since then. So I cannot give the best answer. I did note that he did just get a crystal ball to Mississippi State from one of their insiders. Not sure what led him to put that information in. But again, I haven't really heard anything from his camp in a bit. So, I don't really know.
Gotcha. Rod D saying, we all know Miami has a total of 53 freshmen. Is that true because of the whole COVID and them getting an extra year thing? They technically have 53 freshmen?
Yeah, because you have to take into consideration guys like Avery Huff, this is their third year, but they redshirted freshman year and then they got a free year last year. So there's a couple of those guys that should be true juniors if they didn't redshirt at all that are still redshirt freshmen.
Gotcha. That's crazy because
like Peyton Matoka, I think is another one of them. And there's a few more.
It feels like Matoka's been here for 5 years. I don't know why.
That's what I'm saying, and he's still a redshirt freshman eligibility wise, I believe. So it's nuts.
That's crazy. And I don't think he's going to go anywhere. People thinking he was going to transfer when we got Garcia or when this kid committed Ja'Cory Brown, but he's a program guy. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. If anyone decommits though from that or transfers from that quarterback room after this year or next year, it's probably going to be one of TVD or Garcia, whoever loses that job. That's my opinion on that one. Anthony Lucas or Myron Green. Anthony Lucas, we did touch on. That's probably going to be a guy that announces during the season. He wants to see how we look on the field probably and other teams. Anthony Lucas does like Miami, but we are battling with a lot of other big name teams for his services. But the dude's a stud. He's a 5-star, right? Or borderline 5-star?
Yeah, he's like borderline. I mean, he's probably a 5-star on some websites.
Yeah, but an absolute monster. He's a 6'5", 270 something pound dude, and he wants to play DN.
He's listed at 300 now. We did his film last night on our show.
Wow.
Yep.
I'll have to
But
go
he
back and
but
watch that.
he has clips of him at wide receiver and running back in his highlights. So if you need an athletic D lineman,
Excuse me? What did you just say?
oh, he's running like fade routes in the end zone and like taking carry like read options, and yeah, it's nuts.
Wow. But you know what? Miami used to get those guys consistently. DJ Williams played everything. Sean
Yep.
Taylor played everything. I think Kenny Phillips was another guy that played everything. So good. Hope
I
we
mean,
land him.
Zane Durant has like wildcat quarterback clips on his highlights.
That's crazy. And then Myron Green, that was a hot name for a minute, but then also a little quiet now. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. And he's a JUCO guy, so it would be nice to have that experience. Anything on Myron that you're hearing lately, or same?
I would imagine a lot of it's just grade situation. Not that he has bad grades or anything, but whenever you're transferring from a JUCO, and I believe this isn't his first JUCO, he's been to at least another JUCO, maybe even three. Those transcripts get crazy. So it could be a situation that staff is waiting for that to get handled before they can give him a green light to commit, if they want to, give him that green light.
Gotcha. What's up with Central linebacker Bassett? You probably mean Bassett. Wesley. Yeah, he's going to be another guy that I don't know if he's going to take it all the way to the end, but he's going to be during the season at some point, and I think he's ours unless we royally F it up somehow. I think, that's ours to lose. Let's see. Unless you guys have any more good questions, I think we'll probably stop it there. Yeah, so guys, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. I am approaching that 1,000 little by little. If you can help me get there before the season, that would be awesome. That's my goal for now. For those of you who didn't catch it, I know, Max, you woke up very, very early, bright and early on Saturday to catch my show.
I did do that.
Yes. You're like, why the hell am I awake? Yes, my Saturday morning cafecito with CANES show that I'm going to be doing that from now on out, the season starting. I will have, it'll probably just be me riffing for now, but I'll have guests on there soon as well. So I will have it this Saturday, probably 10:15, 10:30 to give some of the West Coast people a chance to wake up. And so that should be a good time. And
yeah, give me a little bit of time, John. Come on now.
Yeah, that extra 30 minutes to, wake up a little. But yeah, John Flo's still getting that Teddy Rumpkin spear tattoo. Yeah, man. Hashtag bear to the U. No, it looks like, unfortunately, Sigmund Bear Alexander is not coming to the U. How hilarious would it be if he does, though?
I hope it does, so Flo has to get that damn tattoo.
Just for that reason. That would be hilarious if he's just trolling all of us and he all of a sudden commits. But yeah, man, so that's the deal. Catch me this Saturday around 10:30. I'll announce it beforehand. Max, let the fine people know where they can find you and Steve-O.
Yeah, the biggest thing is just on the CANES Insight YouTube channel. We got the CANES Breakdown show every Tuesday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And please follow the YouTube network on Twitter. You can find the links to everybody in the YouTube network on there. We're going to have a crazy show. It's going to be an 8-hour-long show that Coach Hayes is getting together. I know, John, you're probably going to be there, right?
When is that again?
It's Thursday, September 2nd.
September. Okay, the week of the game. Yeah, no, I should be available. I'll probably hop in.
Okay, I think you're. Yeah, so he's basically gonna break it down into position groups throughout the different times of the day. Flo signed up for 8:30 EST, and so that's probably when you would jump on if you can do that. And I think Steve and I might be hopping on at that same time as well. So.
Gotcha. All right, yeah, that should be a good time, man. I love, anything with Coach Hayes is always a good time. So. Yeah, man. So thanks, Max, for coming on. Appreciate all you people. We got up to like 60 something in the chat. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And as always, it's all about the U. And
Yes, sir.
I will see everyone in the chat on Saturday. Take care.